Rich, first of all, thank you very much indeed for joining us here in Gothenburg. Let's just start with Gothenburg as a show. You obviously are based in the US. Coming to Europe's a fair old trek for you guys. You enjoy coming here?
Oh, I do. It's a beautiful city and a wonderful horse show. I've got obviously some really fond memories here. I had my first World Cup final here in 2008 with Flexible, and that's when he kind of broke out in his career and let me know that he was a real horse. It's one of my favorites.
Okay. Let's just go back home for a minute. You come from Oregon, don't you?
Right.
And tell us about your setup there.
Well, it's basically the main reason we live in Oregon was to raise our family. It's a wonderful place to raise a family. It's beautiful 4 seasons in the year, and it's just a wonderful place. And it's also a wonderful place for horses. Lots of grass and lots of room to ride. We had. Fortunately, we met up with Harry and Molly Chapman back in 1989, and they basically invited us to come up from California and ride and train at their private facility in Oregon. And we've been training at that facility ever since 1989. It has new owners now, but still the same basic facility. It's a super place to train horses, and it's been a nice life so far.
And Shelley, your wife, she also rides. Does she compete as
well? She does, and she competes. She was actually nearly qualified to come here this week for the World Cup final, and then unfortunately her horse had a slight injury, and so he's out of the sport for a few months. But she rides very well, actually. You
were noted 2 years ago at saying that one of your ambitions was to ride in the Nations Cup with Shelley. Has that happened yet? Have you achieved that yet?
That hasn't happened yet. She has a horse that's capable. It's just a matter of putting it all together and timing, like everything.
And back home when you're away, I think is it Michelle you've got at the yard?
Michelle's in charge.
Yeah, because finding good people to make sure you can rely on them when you're away is obviously vital, isn't it?
Oh, it's so important. I think in any business, as we all know. I'm very fortunate at the moment. I have a really, really good staff, and Michelle has been with us for 6 or 8 years. It's been quite some time, and she's super.
Great. Let's revert back to the wonderful Flexible. And, I don't know, I was going to say such a following around the world, but I also discovered that Flexible has his own website as well, doesn't he?
Well, I'm not too into the technology end of things, but I've heard that. I've heard that he has a website and maybe a Facebook or something. I'm not into that so much. But.
I mean, as you say, he's got such a global following now of what he's achieved. But in terms of his breeding, of course, he's not the traditional show jumping breeding by cruising, is he? It's more sort of eventing, I suppose, would it be?
Well, cruising has produced some quite good horses over the years. I have to say, I stay in touch with the Irish horses, right. And I've always been a fan of the Irish horse. So he would be quite a producer of show jumpers. And Flexible's mother was also. In the sport, I believe she competed up to maybe international level speed classes, and she was quite a good national level Grand Prix horse there in Ireland. So no, he would have some good blood in there.
Now, last year, 2012, Flexible United States Equestrian Federation Horse of the Year, and you yourself, Equestrian of the Year. That was a nice accolade to be given.
It was quite an honor, I have to say. That was very special, and I think for sure well deserved for Flexible Horse of the Year. Yeah, that was an unbelievable season he had last year. For any sport or for any horse with any rider, that was really a special season he had.
I must just ask you about last night. The horse, I might just tell you, at 17 looked. You'd think he was a 5-year-old the way he looked out there. He looked fantastic. It didn't work out. Was that just a communication error, or what happened there?
Well, it was definitely an error, and I think it was a planning error on my part. Really, I take full responsibility. I do agree the horse felt as good as he's ever felt. I mean, he actually feels better this year than he did last year. As far as he's so sound and he's so loose, and he doesn't feel at all old to me, so I try not to even think about that. But no, regarding the little incident last night, it was just I think it was mainly a planning error. I didn't anticipate the possible effect of making that turn right around that other jump. There was a jump number 3 was kind of a little bit in the way right on the turn there, approaching that double, going up the far side of the ring. And as I came through that turn right around the standard of jump number 3, and I saw my stride there as I started through the turn, flexible, shifted a bit away from that standard, which most horses do, especially when the pocket or the out gate is off to the back side there. And when he made the little shift to the side, then all of a sudden that takeoff spot that I was locked in on became quite long. And he was smart enough when I continued on and tried to encourage him to go for that long distance. He was smart enough to say, "No, Dad, that's not going to work." And when he put in an extra stride, that didn't work either. And that was that. It happened very quick.
Of course, nothing's going to make you feel any better. But of course, you weren't the only one that had an almost identical situation with Christian Alman. Did you think to yourself, "Oh, well, maybe it wasn't just me then," when you saw Christian do that?
I mean, I'm sure he's probably kicking himself as
I'm
well.
sure he is, yeah.
It just, those things happen in sport, and in any sport, things happen so quickly, and it was just, I should have, like I said, I should have anticipated that potentially happening, and maybe gone a little wider, or maybe been a little more aggressive with my outside leg and my outside rein and whatever.
It's easy afterwards, isn't it?
Yeah, it's always easy afterwards.
But just referring to it, because he's 17 now, and I wanted it's interesting at the beginning of our conversation you mentioned that he was quite a difficult young horse to get on. I read in a press release just prior to this show this year at Goteborg that he was so well, he was even quite difficult to get on here at 17.
He was. Just a week ago there in Germany when he flew into Luxembourg, and then he shipped up to Guido Klatte's farm in northern Germany. All the U.S. horses came together there to van together up here to the venue, and so I met him there last Friday just to have a ride on, knowing he would be getting fresh after his journey over on the plane and so on. And I had a real difficult time getting on him there. It took quite some time to get on. He was so full of himself and so fresh, and then I worked him fairly well, and I thought, okay, I've taken a bit of energy out of him. Tomorrow maybe I'll have Lee MacGyver ride him. That's McLean's helper, just because I had to go off and try some more horses. I actually flew to Ireland, and I wasn't there obviously, but apparently Lee, it took some time for Lee to get on him as well. They tried one place where I got on this very small paddock, and they couldn't get it done there, so they ended up going into the indoor ring, and he finally did get on him. But no, he has a lot of energy left in him for an old fella.
Well, I mean, he's considering his age, his wellness is a testimony to you and Shelley and your staff back at home. He looks fantastic. Obviously, we've Goteborg now coming towards the end of the show. You've got a class tonight. You're going to jump in that class, obviously. I think you're 6th or something to go. Yeah, and we look forward to seeing him again. Well, just to wrap up, what's the future for Flexible the rest of this year? Have you got plans mapped out?
Spruce Meadows, as you know, is quite a popular venue, and good prize money and top world-class competition. That's our next target. He'll take a rest after this, and he'll get ready for Spruce Meadows.
Great. Well, the best of luck tonight and the
you.
rest of the weekend, and thank you very much indeed for joining us on FEI TV. It's been great to catch up with you, Rich.
My
Thank
pleasure.
you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Thank you.